What's up, guys? Emily Gagnon here with Scott Pennyman. This is time 2 together, right, Scott?
This is number 2.
Oh, let's make it
Could be
sweeter
more.
than the first time. And speaking of Sweet 16, yeah, it continues tonight. We had some really, really good games last night on Thursday, so I only expect these games to be even better. Which ones are you eyeing for tonight? Are you going to watch them all?
You know what? I'm probably just gonna watch them all, right? I mean, this has been really, it's been really kind of crazy, right? I mean, just looking like last couple of days, just looking like that Florida Atlantic, who's like, is it Florida Atlantic? I'm trying to think.
FAU, yep.
Yeah, FAU, man. They really have been so impressive up to this point. They look legit, and they lost a couple games this season. So watching them last night and do their thing, but Princeton, I'm really looking.
The real Cinderella. I mean, you could say FAU might be,
Yeah.
but they're the real Cinderella because they're what, a 15 seed?
Yeah, and it's so interesting watching them play. Like Princeton is going to be Princeton no matter what, right? I mean, they've been playing this kind of ball for the last 25 years. I remember back in the day when they had like a couple big upsets back in the day, and just watching them play, it's really kind of crazy because they kind of lull you to sleep with all those backdoor cuts and all those different things like that. And like you said, they're 15 seed, so I just want to see how far they can go. It's been like kind of crazy. I mean, just what they've done to this point, the way they just took it to Missouri. I mean, that one kind of surprised me. Just watching that one, I was like, really? When they really took it to them. So who knows, man? I mean, they got this far. Who knows how long they can go? I mean, just, so that's just watching them and just kind of watching Michigan State crash last night too. I mean, that kind of is disappointing because I love the way how they play. So yeah, I mean, just looking forward to those games tonight. But like you said, that number 15 seed, see if they can keep winning. I mean, that's what this time of year is for, right? I mean, it's for all those. It's for the underdogs. It's for the teams that just kind of come from nowhere and just come from the back and win. And that's happened a lot so far in this tournament. So that's why I think it's been fun.
So just so we go over the matchups, you got 5 seed San Diego State against 1 seed Alabama. I do want to make a quick comment. You know, Bama, I did choose Bama to win the entire tournament. They were in the confines of basically playing at home in that first and second round in Birmingham. I've been told that they're getting, when they hit the road, they've been taunted quite a bit because of their off of the court issues that they're having. So maybe tonight we'll see a little bit of that, a little bit of taunting, more so than we did in Birmingham, because they are no longer playing at home, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be affected by that. It just appears that they, negative or positive, they take it in and they just keep playing, right? So
Yeah, that's how they should do. You know what I mean? And it's kind of stupid. I mean, when you look at the taunting, it's not really like they're taunting them about something. I mean, that was a very serious issue, right? I mean, it was a murder.
Very
So
serious.
I mean, I don't really think that's something that you should be taunting during a basketball game. But fans are going to be fans. You can't control that. All they can control is what they do on the court, and they seem to be controlling that really well.
And San Diego State, I've been impressed with them this season. They've played some really, really physical ball. So I think that should be a really good one. Then you've got Miami, a 5 seed against 1 Houston.
Yeah, I mean, watching Miami, I got to see them up close earlier this year when they played Georgia Tech. I was at that game, and just watching them in that game, I think Georgia Tech won that game too. And I really didn't get the feeling just by watching Miami that they were one of these teams that was going to go far in the NCAA tournament. I mean, they really didn't impress me a whole lot, but they've been really, really solid this time of year right now. Look, defensively, they've been pretty strong, and just all the way around. Jim Larinaga, the head coach, he's kind of got the he has the magic. I remember like 15 years ago, he took George Mason to the Final Four. So I think that his coaching and his ability to get his guys to play, that could be a difference. So I mean, look out for Miami. I mean, they've been playing some impressive ball these first 2 games. So yeah, I mean, it wouldn't really surprise me to see them win tonight.
You just need to get in the tournament, and from that point forth, like, if you're hot, you're hot, right? So maybe you weren't like as impressed with the Hurricanes like months ago or weeks ago, but here we are now. They're looking good, like you said. Houston, they're obviously a number 1 seed. They want to play at home.
Right.
The Final Four in the national championship is in Houston, so that's what Houston wants. That is definitely the expectation this season, is for them to go all the way to the national championship in their home city. I don't see it, Scott. I just don't see it with Houston. I'm not saying I don't see it as in they're a good team. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is their first 2 games in that first and second round, they didn't look like the best team in the country to me. They didn't look like that.
Yeah, I agree. True, but I think a lot of it had to do with their best player, Sasser, kind of
Yep.
being he was not feeling the best. So I think that probably affected a lot of what they wanted to do as a team all the way around. So if he's feeling better tonight, I think you'll see more of what Houston was supposed to be headed into this tournament. So I think they'll play a lot better ball. But we'll see, right? I mean, it's been one of those things where they the whole season long. I mean, they were one of the favorites the entire season long. But like you said, them, Alabama, and then I don't know, man. I mean, I think that I think Houston will pick it up tonight, though. I really do, and I expect them to win tonight, and I expect them to go all the way to the Final Four for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Princeton and Creighton we talked about. In that game, really quickly, though, like Creighton's a 6 seed, and you know, you should never feed off of like seeds because
Right.
there's upsets and all that. But I do think the fact that that Princeton is playing Creighton, that they have a good chance to win.
Yeah, I mean that's a good matchup for Princeton. I mean, I think they landed a good one. I mean, if they were going against, you know, Houston, one of those teams, I think obviously they wouldn't be one of the favorites. But yeah, I mean, when you look at that matchup against Creighton, I mean, that's a really favorable matchup for Princeton. So I think that it would not surprise me to see them in the Elite Eight. Wow, I can't believe I'm saying that. Princeton, number 15 seed in the Elite Eight. That's kind of crazy.
That would be the Cinderella, right? That would definitely be the Cinderella. And then the game I want to watch the most, Xavier, a 3 seed, the team that beat Kennesaw State in that first round but almost lost against Texas. So I think just because it's a 2 and a 3 seed, it's going to be very evenly matched. Both of these teams very good. And, you know, Scott, I got to admit, I have Alabama and Texas playing each other in the national championship game. Texas beat Alabama earlier this season during the regular season. They were like one of a few teams that were able to beat Bama. And so I like Texas a lot. I have Alabama winning. I can't say it enough. But I definitely think that Texas has a fighting chance.
So I guess you're rooting for Texas tonight then, right?
Well, it's interesting because of my 4 teams in the Final Four, I still have 3 standing. So Kansas is the only one that's lost, but Kansas State, which obviously the Wildcats played a heck of a game last night. So KSU, and then Texas and Alabama. So 3 of my 4 teams are still standing that I have going to the Final Four in Houston. What about you?
Xavier's strong though, man. I think I like Xavier tonight.
Good coach too.
Yeah, Xavier's a well coached team. They got the big guy Nunji in the middle, the good shot blocker. They got Jones, who's projected to be a top 15 pick in the upcoming NBA draft. Yeah, I mean, Xavier looks like they have it all together. I mean, they could have very easily been out against Kennesaw State. Let's be real. I mean, but I think that was maybe their wake-up call. I think that in the last game they were very impressive against Pitt. They pretty much knocked them out of there. Pretty much, you know, they kind of controlled that whole game. So I think that when you look at Xavier, they seem to be one of those teams that kind of has every element that you need to win. They have the inside presence with Nunji, offensive and defensively. They have Jones. You know, they have the on the perimeter. They can hit shots. They play good defense. They seem to be one of those teams that all the way around from top to bottom, they seem to be able to beat you in a lot of different ways. So I like them. I like them tonight over Texas. I'm sorry. I know it's going to affect your bracket.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I mean, no hard feelings, you know. Nunji, though, like going back to him, he's the one who blocked the shot, who blocked.
It's a big dude.
Yeah, who blocked Terrell's shot.
Yeah.
Because in that game, in the KSU Xavier game,
that would have been a game winner. Yeah.
Yes. So, unfortunately for KSU, Nunji came up big in that game, and Sean Miller, like he used to be with Arizona.
Yeah.
And he made a name for himself, like taking teams to the tournament, and so here he is again with Xavier, and you know, very well coached team. So anything could happen, and thank you for saying sorry about my bracket.
No, but they just when you look at Xavier, they seem to be one of the most complete teams left in this tournament. I mean, just the ability to be able to contest shots at the rim with the big fella, the ability to be able to score on the other end with the big fella, and they have NBA talent in their starting lineup. Yeah, I mean, I think from top to bottom, that's one of the most well-built teams in this tournament. So I think they're built to go far. That's why I personally have them beating Texas tonight, but we'll see.
Who's in your Final Four? I don't even know this. Man, did you fill out a bracket?
You know what? I didn't fill out a bracket.
Stop. Of course you did.
I haven't filled out a bracket in about 10 years.
Of course.
Seriously.
Do you have an opinion? It's not fair to ask you now, but I want to know. Do you have an opinion about who's going to the national championship? Like, what's your national championship matchup?
All I know is I had my champion being Gonzaga. That's what I had. I mean, just
so last night you were sweating a little bit?
A little bit, but you know what, though? Gonzaga is one of those teams, they're a veteran team. That guy, Andrew Timme, he's been there for about 14 seasons now. So I think that when you look at that team, they just seem – look, they've been to the tournament like 1,000 straight years, right, Gonzaga? I think they made like 23 or 24 straight tournament appearances. So I think that at some point, when you go to the tournament that many times, they've gone deeper and deeper. I mean, they've been right there. They've been to the championship game.
There's no panic with them either.
No. They've been around the cusp. Mark Few, man, he's got to be one of the best coaches in college basketball, right? At some point, they will poke through and get it done.
The guy who hit the 3 from the S. to give them the go-ahead bucket, right? With
for sure.
12 seconds left, or maybe even less than that on the clock. I could not believe, like, when he went up, when I was watching in real time and he went up to shoot that, I was like, there is no way that ball is going in. There is no way. And I mean, he shot it from so deep, and it went in, and I was like, this cannot be real life. But then afterwards, Scott, why I'm saying this is that the interview that he gave, he was saying, like, they practice that shot all the time.
Yeah.
So, guys, you play how you practice.
Right.
In these high-level moments, like, that's why you practice, is because he just got the ball and shot it. And he didn't even think about it. Like, just literally shot it up.
That's how you hit big buckets, right? I mean, you don't think about the moment. You don't think about what's around you. You just do what you've done every day in practice up to that point. Act like the gym is empty. Just let it fly. That's kind of crazy. UCLA's got to be feeling like, right?
Oh, it was heartbreaking.
I mean, they controlled that game last night. I mean, so they've got to be sitting back like, what the hell just happened? Like, seriously, that's why I was looking. I couldn't believe they lost it.
Well, even so they hit that three first to get ahead by 1 point.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, I think that's when there was 12 seconds on the clock. And Gonzaga responded by literally just shooting the ball up. So then there was, 2 seconds left on the clock or less?
Something like that, yeah.
So I felt bad for them, but I know UCLA was up by, what?
They were
Double digits?
12 or 13. Yeah, they were up 12 or 13 points, and then they just kind of just let it slip. And UCLA is a veteran team too. I mean, so for them to let that happen to them, that's kind of crazy. But I mean, that's NCAA tournament time. That's what happens, and they didn't deserve to win, flat out.
All right, I'm gonna let you take this next topic away because you are Mr. NBA. The Mavs are protesting their loss to the Warriors. What's happening here?
Well, it's one of those things where they kind
You're
of
laughing right now. So what?
Well, I was watching the game and I was even having trouble, kind of. It led to a uncontested dunk on behalf of it was Golden State, right? I'm trying to remember the game the other night.
That's right, with the Warriors. Yep.
I was watching the game and I was really having trouble as I was following it too. But the Mavericks thought it was their ball, but because the arrow was pointed that way, but it was just some confusion with the officiating that was on the court, and it led to an uncontested dunk for Golden State. And they won by 2 points, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of what And then both, the Mavericks said they're going to contest it after, and they're fighting for a playoff spot, right? So I mean,
this is what you have to do.
Exactly. So it's not going to change the result. They're not going to reverse the game, but it's really just been a culmination of a lot of bad. I mean, this week an NBA official got demoted because of some of the problems he was having officiating games. So yeah, I mean, this has been a real problem with the NBA this season from an officiating standpoint. But I think that's been a problem in all sports, right? I mean, the NFL's had their problems with officiating and everything like that. So I just think that it's one of those things where, and then Luka had a gesture like the next night where where he was fined $35,000 for it as he was making fun
to the refs
of the refs, which I don't like that either, right? I mean, because I just think we've reached a point right now in sports where it's easier to just blame the officials when you come up short than it is to blame yourself for actually losing the game. I mean, true enough, they lost that game by 2 points that night, and that gave Golden State a free bucket, but. I was always taught I never played NBA basketball, but from the time I started playing sports and everything like that, I was always taught from coaches to control what you can control.
Right, but also don't leave it in the hands of the refs.
Exactly.
Ball out before these things happen.
Right, and that's why I hate these things, So, I mean, is the officiating perfect? No. Has the officiating had some troubles and some difficulties this year? Certainly. I mean,
it'll be like that forever.
It'll be like that forever. I mean, there's no surefire way to get officials to make somebody's going to complain about the officials,
right?
And it's normally going to be the loser. so it is what it is. I mean, to me there's no real solution, honestly.
It's what might look blatant to us as viewers, when you're watching a game, what might look like that to us doesn't look like that to officials who are on the court and they're taking so much into account. So I understand sometimes there are some bad calls that are made that are just ridiculous, and you're like, what is this? But I think, every once in a while you got to feel for the officials. I mean, do you think, because you're such an NBA guru and you love it so much, do you feel like you could be an official?
Well, I wouldn't call myself an NBA guru,
but
I would not want to be an official. No, I mean, just because I know that it's the same thing. It's just look at every player nowadays. When you watch an NBA game, it just seems like every player wants help from the officials to win the game. I mean, every player who goes up and he misses a shot, he's complaining about a foul. Look at the NFL. Every pass that's incomplete, the wide receivers looking around at the officials, looking for a flag to be thrown. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, just go out there and try to win the game. Normally, player who goes out there and tries to win the game and has that at the forefront of his mind, normally those calls are going to come because you're being aggressive and the refs are going to see that and they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But when every single time something fails, when there's an incomplete pass or when it's a missed shot and the guy, you know, misses a shot, he looks around, he's looking for the whistle. I mean, as a fan, I get tired of that, don't you? I mean,
No, I mean, yes, but
kinda
it's
crazy.
become part of the game for me. So
Yeah.
I got used to it. Like, I want to see, especially with, like, LeBron, right? I mean, like, you love, well, I don't know. Do you still love LeBron? You do, right?
I do. Look. You know how it works when LeBron James, when you're on social media arguing about LeBron James, unless you come on social media and go, LeBron James is the most perfect athlete in the history of pro sports, if you say anything outside
Even
of
if you
that,
say that, though.
even if, well, you're right, even if you say that, but if you say anything less than LeBron James is the finest athlete, the most perfect athlete I've ever seen play pro sports, unless you come on social media and say that, people are going to call you a hater. I said LeBron James was the second or third best basketball player I've ever seen in my
Sounds
entire
like you're
life.
a hater.
No, exactly. And that's what you get on social media in 2023. People will say, I said LeBron James is the second best player I have ever seen play basketball.
Who's the first?
And I'm a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, so I love LeBron
you going
James.
with MJ?
Michael Jordan's number one. I mean,
you go.
I said Michael Jordan is the best basketball player I've ever seen play, and people call me a LeBron James hater.
And you love him.
How do you hate someone? Do you know how many people have played basketball in the last 30 plus years since I've been alive? I said he's the second best to ever play, and people said I'm a hater because I said he wasn't number one. It's crazy.
It is crazy, but he does complain a lot.
Of course. Most stars do.
Which is how we started this discussion.
Right. Every superstar, including Michael Jordan, they work the officials. It is what it is.
It's part of the game, people. It's part of the game. All right, Max Fried, he has been named the opening day starter for the Braves.
Nice.
He is their ace. I thought this was going to happen before spring training even started. So when we went down there, it appeared like that was what was going to happen, and that's exactly what's occurring in less than a week. We're less than a week away from the start of the MLB season. I'm jacked. I mean, let's go Braves. Let's do it. I mean, they still have such a good team, Scott, to be able to make a deep run in the playoffs, and Max Fried is such a big part of that puzzle. He's certainly deserving of this. When I was down there in Florida with them, the only thing I hate, right, and there's more to this than anything I'll ever know because I'm not in the meetings, with Anthopoulos and Brian Snicker and, Max's agent and all the things. But, he didn't get a long-term contract with the Braves this offseason. And you watch the Braves reward so many young players, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
I mean, you watch them pay Michael Harris II.
After 1 year.
You watch them pay, who else got paid this, or even during this season. I mean,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah, it wasn't even a full year, right? He got paid Harris, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he get that extension at the end of the year, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, towards the end, we were still playing baseball when
Right.
he got it.
Yeah.
So they're rewarding players, and they have not rewarded him. And in the clubhouse, he was asked, like, are you a little sour about that? Like, how do you feel? And I did not like how the question came out because it was almost like pinning him against his teammates,
Right.
which, like, you never want to do. But he's like, I'm super happy for everybody who got an extension, who got a fat contract. Like, I'm happy for them. But I hated it because it's like, well, why aren't we giving him one? Like, do the Braves, like, he is the Braves ace, but do the Braves think that they might be able to get something better, or are they going to let another season ride out? Like, they want to see more? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of that, right? I mean, especially when it comes
Austin Riley, right? He got...
Yeah, he got paid too.
Yeah.
He got big money, right?
Yeah.
Couple $100 million, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I just think maybe, and I don't know, in the landscape of baseball, last few years, I remember it's kind of different the last, 15, 20 years. Does it seem like that teams are more willing to let big-time pitchers kind of go, like to other teams?
I understand what you're saying.
Like, I think you give the benefit of the doubt to people who play every day and not guys who play every 5 days. So I kind of understand the way of thinking. Like, if you have a strong organization and you feel like you can groom younger pitchers coming up like that, I think maybe you don't value them as high as you do position players that are out there helping you play and win every single day. I don't know. I mean,
That could be something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but, like, a lot of people were like, hey, well, will Spencer Strider be their number one guy? And
Yeah, he probably will be as we come
He's
down
good.
on me. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
he
man,
is
he's
like,
outstanding. Yeah,
Ooh, good.
right.
But I think that Max Fried has earned the right to be able to be the #1 guy.
Yes, yeah.
Let's give it to him, guys. It's just one game out of a billion.
Right, exactly. I mean, I don't know why we always
So-
make a big deal about the opening day starters.
Yeah.
161 games left. I
It's
mean,
something fun to talk about,
Right.
but let's be honest. Like down the stretch here, like let's feel out the other pitchers and kind of see what happens. But I'm certainly happy for Max Fried. He's a good dude. He has always been good to the media, and I did feel for him because he didn't get a contract that he probably felt like he deserved and wanted. And you hate it for players in any sport that don't. But like you said, who knows? Next season he might be playing somewhere else just simply because the Braves don't put all the weight that they should maybe in their pitching rotation, or maybe they want to see what he does this year and kind of go from there.
yeah, man, like I said, I think they're an organization that believes that they can find other guys that can pitch, or they have guys coming down the pike that may be able to fill that void. So, and I just think, are you really getting value if you give 150 million or 200 million plus to a guy who plays every 5 days? I just wonder if analytics still value that the way they used to.
In the playoffs, that's the only time I think. In the playoffs, that's when pitching like truly matters.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does, but even just think about, let's say in the first round of the playoffs, a guy like Max Fried, right? I mean, so he goes out there and he starts. He may not start another game in that series, or he may only start like one more game or
they'll
something.
put him back out there in Game 5.
Yeah.
When everything's on the line.
Right, exactly. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I think he has
That's
value.
when you like really want to know like who you got out there, and you want to
For
pay
sure.
those guys.
For sure, but I just think that we're at a place now where the guys who are probably going to get the money first are the guys who are playing every day, the guys who are out there every single day, guys like Harris, guys who are helping you in 150, 160 games, not just 30 or 40 or 50 games that they start.
Yep. So they're on the road though. The Braves are on the road for like a good week before we'll even see them. Their home opener is against the Padres, and it's not till like I think April 6th.
Oh, nice.
That
Yeah.
Thursday, and they start off, I believe, playing at the Nationals on the 30th. So next week we're watching baseball, Scott. You and me.
It's coming. It came around fast, man. It seems like the season just ended.
I know, and there's never an off season anymore. And there used to be an off season, and now there absolutely isn't. With baseball and soccer and football and basketball, it just continues, and it's a good problem to have, though. All right, Lamar drama, Lamar Jackson. Which I mean, like, come on,
Talking about getting
guys.
paid.
Yes. Can we just pay him and get this over with? Do you want to explain what's happening, or you want me to do it?
It just seems kind of crazy, right? I mean, when you look at it, obviously Lamar Jackson got the non-exclusive tag from the Baltimore Ravens. So basically he's out there on the open market. All you have to give up, I say all you have to give up, but you have to give up 2 first-round picks, and you're going to have to sign Lamar to the contract that he's probably going to want, which is, I'm guessing, upwards of $200 million in a Deshaun Watson contract territory.
Yep.
To me, once again, we've talked about this
But wait,
so
we have
many
to
times.
explain what happened, though. Do you want to explain that? How there's supposedly somebody out there
Oh, yeah. So he has someone negotiating on his behalf, right? He's got this guy who's
supposedly calling teams.
reportedly calling teams and trying to negotiate through backdoor channels to try to get him a deal right. And then Lamar came out and said, hey, man, y'all believe anything. This ain't happening.
But the problem with that is he's not a registered agent
Yeah,
with an
he's not an approved
NFLPA.
agent, right.
So NFL teams have, reportedly told teams the NFL has told teams across the league to not communicate with this man who's supposedly or reportedly negotiating on Lamar Jackson's behalf. So
I understand it, but that seems a little bit petty to me, honestly.
But Lamar is saying, believe what you want to believe. And,
Right.
He's basically saying, that is not what's happening. Somebody's not calling somebody else on my behalf. Because Lamar's his own agent, right?
Yeah, he actually has his own agent. I think it's basically been him and his mom that have kind of been serving as his agent. So this is so he can talk to teams directly, which is fine,
Correct.
but he can't.
He can't call me and ask me to do it.
Exactly.
I'm
He
not
can't call
registered.
someone else and have them. Right. So in that case, maybe if that's what he's doing, then maybe it's time to go hire an agent to be able to do this sort of thing. So
I'm sure he wants to create some leverage for himself because he's not getting the money he feels as if he deserves, and he does deserve it. I just want this over with, Scott.
which is crazy
Pay
in his own right? I mean, when's the last time an MVP quarterback, a guy who just won the MVP a couple seasons ago, if you were to tell anybody there's be an MVP quarterback that will be on the open market, there should be 10 to 15 teams that are standing in line waiting to make that deal. I mean, that's nothing. In today's NFL, teams have given up 2 first-round picks for defensive backs like Jalen Ramsey. I think the Rams gave up 2 first-round picks for him. I mean, it should be a no-brainer to give up 2 first-round picks for a quarterback the caliber of Lamar Jackson, an MVP quarterback, a guy who showed that he can carry an offense, to a playoff.
There are teams that need it.
There's a team there's a team who plays about a couple blocks away who needs it. They need it bad. They need a quarterback really bad. I don't know why the Falcons ain't just blowing up the agent's phone of Lamar Jackson. Just call Lamar Jackson directly, right? Because you can't talk to this guy, the guy who he's having people call, right? So I don't understand why the Falcons haven't called Lamar directly or even called the guy who's speaking on behalf of Lamar. Don't call him, but just call Lamar directly.
How about just call the Ravens?
Yeah,
you don't even need Lamar's contact.
Just I don't understand why the Falcons. I mean, do they really feel that good about Desmond Ridder? Really? I mean, just come on, man. I mean, we've talked about this before.
They're putting all of their eggs in that basket.
Right. They're right. I mean, when you talk about teams who really need a quarterback, I mean, you don't have to go very far. Just go out the flowery branch. I'm just saying. I mean, they should really be, making a call. But whatever.
We're going to end it on that because I don't have many thoughts beyond that. Do you, Scott?
No, except for Fontenot, Arthur Smith, make the damn call. Call it right now. Call Lamar Jackson. Let's get this done. $230 million. Give him $230 million guaranteed. Give him 2 first-round picks. Let's go. Finally, you have a quarterback around the corner at Mercedes-Benz Stadium because you don't have one right now. Go get one. He's right there. He's out there waiting for your call. Go get him.
They're not doing it. Have a good night, guys.